We're back live at Star Institute for SPD. Today we're going to talk about SPD throughout the lifespan.
And one of the things that we hear from parents and from adults all the time is, oh man, if I had started therapy earlier, this would be all different. And there can be a lot of blaming yourself if you're the parent, or even if you're yourself referring yourself of why didn't I come sooner. And we wanted to talk about, it's never too late for therapy, that there's always space to grow and improve and to work on your sensory processing challenges. And we also wanted to talk about how therapy might look different from when you might be first diagnosed, if you were diagnosed as a child, as compared to what it might look like in adulthood, and how you have to approach sensory processing disorder from a different angle, depending on where you are in your lifespan.
Yeah, a common question that I get from parents and some of the adults I've treated is, how do I know when I'm done with therapy? Or how long am I going to need to get therapy for my child or for myself? And as occupational therapists, we know that there isn't a specific answer to that ever. And thinking about the whole lifespan of SPD, starting in infancy, an infant has certain occupations, sleeping and eating, and then you get into elementary school and a whole new set of occupations come along, and then they get to adolescence, where the hormones change, and a whole new set of occupations again, and then we get to adulthood. New relationships, more independence, and so, yeah, a big thing that we've talked about kind of throughout the lifespan is kind of that those transitions can be really difficult, especially if you have sensory processing challenges.
And one of the things that can really help people understand when they're going to need help, when how much help they need, is goals. Looking at, well, what are your goals for this stage of your child's life or for your life? It may be, for your child, you want them to be successful at school. So once they're successful at school, then maybe you can take a break from therapy. But when they move to middle school or high school, they may start to struggle again because of the social factors or the hormonal factors or whatever that can be impacted. So it's that let's focus on what's the problem right now, and let's work on that. Because yes, we could probably predict into the future that maybe that high school transition is going to be hard, and going into college and young adulthood, but we don't know. So it's really individual. So taking the situation that you're living in now, what is difficult now, and let's work on that. And we'll take it as it comes down the road. And we do know kind of predictively, with the families that we've worked with and the individuals that we've worked with, there are those common times where you need extra support. And it's those transitions in life. Mm-hmm. It's when something's changed and what you've learned that works no longer works because there's just new factors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that I know we've talked about in previous videos is things like trauma and how they can affect your sensory systems. So thinking about transitions being a big deal, but also traumatic events, addition of new family members, new roommates into your house. That's a big one we've talked about in the adult population. So there's just a wide variety of factors. Maybe you develop comorbidities that make it a lot more challenging.
And thinking about there's outside factors, that things that happen outside of you that can change how you're processing sensations. There's also things that happen internally. And one of the things that we know about human development is that it's not static. It's always changing. And so in one stage you might process things a certain way. For instance, you might as a child have been really sensory craving and couldn't wait to get on the swing set and do flips off the swings and really move your body in crazy ways. But as you grow and mature and your nervous system changes, you may actually get dizzy and throw up on a roller coaster. It's something that we know happens, that your sensory systems adjust over time. And they can adjust in positive ways through therapy and through positive experiences. And they can adjust in ways that are more problematic. So it's very common that balance issues become a problem as you age. Mm-hmm. So that could be something that you didn't have to worry about as a child, but as you get older, you might need to work on.
Yeah, and thinking about praxis, that's a common area that we work on in kids up to adulthood, and thinking about praxis tests, those are referring to multi-step motor tasks that we do in our everyday life. And as we get older, it's a big conversation that I have with my adolescent parents and kids is we're expected to do bigger praxis tests the older we get. And I know we've talked about it before, just how thankful we are learning through this adult sensory experience as therapists. We're able to learn from adults, learn from adolescents, learn from kids, and kind of it's giving us just a wider lens of what the lifespan looks like throughout, not just in childhood, but also what adults experience, common areas that they experience difficulties in, and that's been really, it's just been mind-opening for me as a therapist as well as a individual.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to think about how we can all learn from really anyone that we're working with. And if you're a loved one of someone who has sensory challenges, I think it's easy to view them as the ones that need help and the ones that need support. But it's been our experience time and time again that these individuals have a lot to offer, and they can help teach us a lot of really valuable things. So I'm really excited about talking about this topic. It's something that definitely can be discussed in much, much greater detail, and that's why we're doing a pre-symposium for our SPD symposium this fall that's specifically talking about SPD across the lifespan. And I'm excited to be one of the presenters there that's going to be talking about adolescents and adults. There's going to be several other presenters that are going to help that conversation. That pre-symposium is intended to be for parents and individuals with SPD as well as professionals who want to know a little bit more about the day-to-day life with SPD. So hope to see you guys there. There's a link in the comments below for you to check it out if you're curious about the pre-symposium. And for those of you who don't necessarily like to be at a symposium, I think there's going to be an opportunity for you to also view the content electronically. So keep your eye out for that as well.
Thanks, guys.